Hey, good friends. Welcome to the Mad Painter Show. Do you remember when you were in school? Well, I do. When you were in school and you had the show and tell, and you bring in your special toy and like, look what I got. I know you want to play with this because you've been wanting this for Christmas. I don't know how long, but I got it first. Well, I kind of look at this as we grow up more like telling show, because when we're having like a vision or a plan, we have to like tell some people to get this team going. So I kind of see it like this, right? You get the team of people going, and no matter the incentives, the promotions that you have situations where people will get distracted, and you'll get to the point where it's like, I might as well just do this myself. So, okay, before we even go all into this, right, get your drink, because I got my coffee, get your water, whatever it is that you need, because we getting ready to go to Imagination Station, because I'm going to take you with me, okay? We're going through this Mad Painter style. So this is why I'm explaining this, right? So what I paid attention to in the beginning, and when I mean in the beginning, as far as people in the Bible, it has shown us we do not listen. We are a smidge bit selfish. We're going to desire what we want to desire and whatever it is we want. And it could be something just this one basic, simple instruction. And we won't follow it because we want what we want. And so, right. Okay. So this is just letting us know about a peopling thing. And this is just some stuff that folks do. They're going to do. But what I also saw, as far as the beginning, God loves us. And so in looking at this whole thing of doing it yourself, I see it as God with this Christ situation, like, hold my beer. Like God was just like, hold my beer. I'm about to show you. Because I've been telling you all this time, and now I'm about to show it to you. So instead of just going through all these little, I don't want to say all these little scriptures, like, these little scriptures, not like that, but instead of going through the scriptures and going it through like I'm doing like a teaching thing, this is just like a talk here with a friend, and we going to Imagination Station, right? And so here, because this is my interpretation of it, right? So here I see it like in the beginning, you got God showing his love. And it's a thing where I'm saying it as he's showing his love because he gave this instruction. And here he created these people, this thing. And they believe something else. So it was just like, and I feel like they believing in something else had to do with their own desires. And I mean, this is not a thing in pointing off and how Adam and Eve, they just wrong. No, this is just a life learning thing and just seeing, how people be peopling. And so here it is. We can be in a place where we have everything we want and still want something else. And if it's told we shouldn't want that, oh my goodness, boy, do we want it even more. Like, why shouldn't we want it? Is it something over there? I mean, it's looking good. It smells good. It looks like it can be pretty useful. Why shouldn't we want that? And so it's just letting us know about a peopling thing. And so here we are, us as being people, we are in sole control of everything. And, we got to do what I say, do it, else I'm going to kick your behind and prison you. And I mean, look, there are consequences to things, period. Whether it's good things, bad things, however you want to label it, there are consequences. But seeing, looking at how we think about things and then how God think about things, it's slightly different. So here we go to Adam and Eve, and then we had their kids, Cain. So, I mean, even though they had to move on to another destination, because it's like, okay, you got to see where you're coming from, people. You got to see what's going on. I'm trying to talk to you, and I mean, it's your will. You could talk to me if you want to. I'm not pushing it. But it's like, I'm interested in talking to you. But in looking at this whole situation in the beginning, where even though we're looking at this as they messed up, but I still see this as a plan, right? But even though it's like they messed up, they did this thing, God didn't look at this as, you know what, I'm just going to scrap it and start all over again. Because in thinking as a creator myself, it's been plenty of pieces I've painted over. Because I've had time to look at it over the years. It was just like, I'm paint over that. So, but then God got to a point, because I mean, he didn't paint it over some things. But then it's like he got to a point where it was like, I love these people. Because even when he wanted to wash away everything, he didn't. He showed some love. So we have all these various people, no matter how we want to judge them, God saw them differently. And he also used them for his will, his purposes, for whatever it was that he wanted to do. But it was all showing some love. So here this thing is, right? Mad painting style. So it's people, and God showing their love. And I mean, over time, and people doing what they want to do. Because then we have this situation with Nimrod and them. And I'm probably jumping back and forth in these stories. But this is why you read people, so you can see how I'm jumping back and forth. But in Genesis somewhere, it's the situation with Nimrod. And I'm seeing this as they had this like collective. I kind of see this as like Jack and the Beanstalk. I was trying to think of that man's name. Jack and the Beanstalk type thing. And I mean, even though we're looking at the giant, I mean, I'm not comparing God to the giant. I just kind of see how they get these stories. But it's just, here it is. We're looking at the giant as if he being this big old angry, evil thing. But Jack is the one who went up there. And he was not invited, nor was that man welcome. I don't care what them beans was promised to you. You don't just go up in somebody's crib and just take what you want. So, I mean, I was in defense of the giant right there, because Jack was bogus. Anyway, and looking at this situation with Nimrod, and even though you have all of these people in this agreement thing and doing whatever it was that they wanted to do, they were wicked in their hearts. So we have God being faithful to his word, and then, going to promise people what it is that he's going to promise them. But then you got people thinking bogus and doing bogus things. And then, so here it is, we had these laws, and then it's like a thing where, look, man, I love y'all. Y'all not seeming to really pay attention to that. And I'm telling you things, but this is also a conversation piece going on here. And I mean, it's times where it's like, yeah, you do what I say do, but it doesn't mean we can't talk about this. But it's a thing where, some people, they're like, God, we don't want to hear what you got to say. Can you send somebody else to kind of, you talk to them and we'll hear what they got to say, because we don't want to hear you. We don't want to hear you. And so you got people who don't want to hear, and it's like, been talking to these people. It's only certain few that'll listen, but okay, whatever. So it's like, it's your will. It's a situation where it's your will, and I mean, God is still going to do what he wants to do, but it's still a thing where this is also your life too. And he doesn't want to overstep your boundaries. But he still has a plan, whether you want to be a part of it or not. And I mean, this is a whole bunch of ways, but I'm just saying this because love is a part of this plan. And this is coming back to, the whole tell you and show you, because he was, letting people know part of this plan along the way. And even when we developed this relationship, and even in seeing how, when you understand that he's a living God and that he actually talks to you directly, boy, it changes things. This is where it's like one of those, you really feel loved. I mean, you feel the love. It is all over the place. So anywho, he's like, it's just like going through this thing where it's all these different people and you have these experiences, and as you read, you could kind of see yourself in a lot of these different people. And it's just like, wow, God, and you love them. That's amazing because, you know, our perspective is totally different than God's perspective. So back to this whole holding my beer situation, right? So it's like we go through all these periods and, you know, and God understanding people and people and then people trying to take control of things. And so, wait, because it also in respect of my brothers and sisters in various religions and whatever it is that they do. Because so I have a couple of examples here. I know I said I wasn't going to say nothing and go in like Bible study, but still, this is what I'm talking about. We going mad painter style. So here we have Sarah, Abraham, and dear God, I forgot her name. It'll come to me later. It just flew past my mind. But because her name is slightly coming to me. Oh my goodness. So anyway, we have Sarah and Abraham. And so like I look at this as the father of faith. But here we go. You know how sometimes, I mean, I'm not totally blaming you here on this situation because women are involved in this too. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just thing like, okay, Zaddy. It wasn't like that. And so I look at this thing like, I mean, you know, sometimes we'll get caught up in a situation where it's like, I like her, but I like her too. So here, Hagar, I told you her name was going to come to me. So here it is. This is mad painter style. So here it is. I'm seeing this. Now here, we got the father of our faith. Well, we got Abraham, right? And so people connect this with the religions, right? And because he is in Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, because those are like the main three faiths or whatever. But you know, there's some other stuff sprinkled in there. But anywho, we just gonna stick with their main three. So his daddy up in the game, and you know, he got some women's involved. Now, mind you, this is the beginning. Not exactly the beginning, but you know, in the beginning, you know, all the laws wasn't there at first, and it's just like, man, you know, I know God, you was saying something about being with Sarah, but Hagar, yo, you know, that skin is just, So I look at the situation with the religious battle as like, these were two women that were mad at this man. And that was like, we're not going to have it. So we're going to set up these boundaries because in order for us to get this man's perspective straight, you got to get this married situation straight, you know, because once you say I do, this is what it is. And so I feel like, you know, the whole religious breakup thing got a lot to do. I'm not blaming Abraham, but just in looking at when we ain't got our stuff together and we trying to sow our royal oats all over the place, it can kind of create some confusion. And being a child that is the first child, but then in having other siblings with my dad, it's a, man, bro, it'd be a battle. But yet at the same time, because I mean, I'm sure it's a battle when you siblings in the same home. But at the same time, this is like a situation where, man, it's just a thing and you loving family, even though they may have different perspectives, even though they may see stuff different ways, because they still family. And you still be willing to hear where a family is coming from. And this is where the love come in at. Because, you know, when parents and stuff be bickering, you know, sometimes the kids get what the parents have. But, you know, it sometimes take the bigger kid to be like, but you know what, though, I still love you anyway. So, here it is now. We're looking at the other bigger kid, okay? Because, I mean, oh, bless Abraham. He was going through a thing. And so where I was going with Hagar, because, you know, and looking at history and stuff, because this is friends, this is us talking. I'm doing this mad painter style. We going through imagination station, right? And so I'm looking at this as, you know, and God knowing people and him knowing how people would be trying to use stuff and control stuff. So here we have the history of things, right? And we'll have, oh, well, God was talking to these people and he only was talking to those people, and that promise is only promised to these people, and these laws are only for these people. And so we shouldn't even pay attention to what they're saying, because we don't have the privilege of those people, because God was only talking to them, and it is written in the book. But the book is continued. I don't know why I went through that voice. But the book is continued. It's a whole book. And I mean, it's a collective of books. So here it is where we have a Hagar. Because, we're going to the family thing, right? And Abraham is the father of the faith. And I'm looking at this as like religions like broke up. But it's not just a religion. Because especially, honey, when it comes to Christ, if you paid attention to any of my language, Christianity is very rarely used. But that's another video. So anyway, here it is where I say Sarah is with Judaism, because, you're not really considered a Jew unless it's like by the mother and this, because they know what the men is doing. And then we go to Islam. And so here with Islam, it's the woman that's represented there as Hagar, and they looked at her as a slave girl. And it's like, bro, sis, I get that, I get that. They get you in this, and hear this man looking at you, and then it's like they want you to have this kid. Now all of a sudden it's a problem. And I mean, the story is much deeper than what I'm saying right there. And then so it's like now they don't want you there, and it's like, come on now. But check this out, right? Because even though this may have been looked at as like this was Abraham, God, and this, that, and the other. So when Hagar runs off with this child and she's crying, the child is crying, it's like this whole situation. God hears them. I'm going to say them. God definitely hears the baby, hears her. And she recognized that she is heard. So this is like a family thing. So then here we go and continuing on, because, that's a whole nother story. But here and continuing on, the love of God, because God did not just stop talking to Abraham and Sarah. He said something to Hagar too. Okay. So we go on, and there's this love thing, and really wanting to reach out to the individual, because even though it's an individual, it's still a collective thing. So, okay, back to this holding my beer thing. So we go through all these different people, but it's still a thing. It's still a point God trying to bring across. This is Mad Painter style. So it's still a point God trying to bring across. He has this plan in this thing. So I see him as looking at it like, just as the people were saying a thing like, we don't want you talking directly to us. Can you use somebody else? Because it's like, it's just too much. And even with this thing and God asking people to do things or to follow instructions or doing whatever, people get kind of wishy-washy with that. So it'd be like, not today. I don't feel like it. I don't want to. I have my reasons as to why I don't want to go say something to them people. Not today. So here's a thing where we go back to this plan, right? And how when you get with these people, because you got this plan, you got this mission, this is something that you're passionate about, something that you got to get through with. But these people procrastinating, they delayed, they distracted, they caught up in what it is that they want to do, but you got a deadline. It's stuff that you got to do. So you sit there and you looking like, I need to do this myself. Hold my beer. And so I looked at this as what God did, right? Because I see it like, you know what? Mad Painter style. Not exactly saying that this is what God was thinking, but when I asked God about Christ a long time ago, just kind of like the funny version of how I saw it. And so it was a thing like, you know what? I've been telling these people that I love them. I've been telling them all this time, part of my plan, what's going on. And even though they don't fully understand it, they wishy-washy with what they want to do. So I done made up in my mind, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And how everything was created in this realm as far as in the word, because look at how our words can hurt someone, our words can love someone, our words can heal someone, our words can do a lot of things. But then we'd have gotten to a place where our words had just become nothingness because we talking about a whole bunch of nothingness. But God is not like that. He doesn't talk nothingness. So here it is. I get this is the God can't lie, because and when you study his word and when you experience how he does not lie, and when you have an opportunity to be in his presence and you're having like this conversation, it's just like, whoa. And so here it is, this thing where when he speaks, it makes stuff happen. So it's not like he could just talk about nothingness like we do, because it's purpose to every single thing that he does. So I'm looking at it like, I can do this. I could show you better than I've been telling you, because apparently you haven't been listening. So let me show you. So it's like, come here, Mary. So, okay, now here's this thing with Adam and Eve, right? I just imagination station. Here's this thing with Adam and Eve, and Satan says something to Eve, and this whole situation happened, and bam, then there is a seed implanted with this word. And now here's the kids. Of course, Adam and Eve had sex, and then they had these kids, and it was like, man, destruction right in the door. I mean, they had gotten to a certain age, of course, but it was still like a whole nother situation. But here we have Mary, because I feel like God was like looking at man like, I don't know why y'all keep kicking women to the curb like that. Did y'all miss that whole part with the women as far as the whole oneness? Yeah, y'all. Yep. So it was here. It's like Mad Painter style. Well, it's like, we going to make this up through Mary, because they going to stop doing this thing with Eve. They going to stop it. They don't even understand. They don't understand where Eve was coming from. But one day. But this thing with Mary. So Mary, it wasn't a thing like how Zeus, Clash of the Titans, and Zeus was doing stuff against people's will. And then it was like the whole thing with the humans, like, oh, y'all don't understand where we coming from, because you don't even know what this feels like. You don't understand here. Y'all all up in there. Y'all don't understand how we suffering. What's going on down here? I had to get my gang LA represent, voice there. And it was a thing like, God was like, yeah, I already know how y'all talk. I know how y'all think. I know where y'all heart's coming from. I can kind of, we gonna work this out, because I got all this covered. All this, whatever you think, dream, imagine, I got all that covered. So it was a thing like, Mary, dig this here, right, girl. So he talked to her, and Mary thought about it. She was like, okay, I'm down. I'm a little scared. I'm down, because I'm down. I God, you ain't lied to me not once, nor have you failed me. Because I feel like it was something that she knew and had in her heart, that one, he chose her, and two, where it was like she was believing it's something special there. So here it is, right? And so when a man gets intimate with a woman, that thing is broken. It's showing like, oh girl, you a virgin. So this here wasn't nothing broken. And so in this webbing of the child and the creation of the child being born, God's language is it's like a code. It has a way of changing things. So God's language was DNA code into Christ, which is the making up of his blood, his DNA structure, the making of him. And it came in flesh form. So it developed in there in Mary's belly. And, by her not being touched by man, because we see what happened with the whole situation with the seeds that was planted from Satan. But so it's like, oh, you think this is how this done? I'm going to do this a whole nother way. And so he spoke that in there. And it was a thing like, he made it happen. And his word was in the blood and in the making of that flesh. And then here comes Jesus. So my whole thing with this religious thing, right? Oh, let me get in the light. Let me get into the light. So this whole thing with this religious thing, right? Like it's not about religion. Because here we have the wise man, Christ, baby Jesus. Christianity, what Christianity? Jesus ain't did nothing. He just popped out here. He just got here. But So these fellas that was coming, because they had been following God and see what I believe they called them wise men. It's typically what all other people have been saying. So I'm just going to use them because that's what they have been known for. Because they were considered wise. They were from a whole nother land. And it was something about them that showed me that God is, let me get in the light. That God is a now speaking God. Because God told these men to follow this. They was talking to God right then and there. It was like this whole thing. They were sensitive to God. It wasn't a book. Well, at least this is how I'm seeing this mad painting style. It wasn't a book where it was a thing like at 8:47 when them pros clock. I'm gonna need y'all to pack y'all bags, and it's gonna be this particular star that's gonna be up. And when the star go up, I'm gonna need you to go straight, go 3 miles left, 5 miles right, and then go this way. It just wasn't like that. It was a thing where God was speaking to them, telling them, hey, I need y'all moving this way, and I need y'all to take these things because y'all gonna be giving these gifts away. And this was like, I just see this as, okay, he got this whole plan set up, and he got even a preparation for when he get here, part of himself. However you want to look at this, because God will break it down to you if you ask him about it. He's definitely shown me. So it's like, he's got all this prepared for him, and he got his protection and everything. They was running for their life. So it won't be no confusion. We just said, baby Jesus himself had to go through the process of going through the flesh. And in going through the flesh, he himself even shown he stayed with the Father. Everything was about the Father. And so, I get, for those who us haven't really studied Christ, it is all the walking on the water and the bringing folks back to life and the doing all this stuff. But the thing about it is his connection with the Father, his belief and the things, because, oh my goodness. So, just seeing how loving he was. So in seeing this as a family thing, because he is why we will call him Father. Now, in writing my notes, which I didn't really use, but in writing my notes, I looked at this as Jesus is showing that God is more than God, than just a God. Because and I know that sounds crazy, because it's like, God, it's just, how dare you say that is showing that God is more than just a God. Because here it is, anytime we're like looking at a God, we're looking at God being so distant and being so far away from us, especially when we've messed up. But Jesus walked in the flesh, and in him being tempted, tested, he had been hungry, had been in various different struggling situations, and living as a human being, he understands. Even though he did not fall, even though, we're just going to go all the way back to the beginning, even though he got into places where it was like, Dad, are you sure? You sure this is what you want me to do? He trusted him. And this is the mind that we want to have. This is the heart that we want to have. This is the alignment that we want to have. But because when it came down to like God covering a multitude of things, it's a thing where God is like, I understand you in the mind, I understand you in the body, and I understand you in the soul. There is no area in your life that I do not understand you, because I've walked in this realm myself. And so looking at, because we can, really think about this in our own self. Have you ever seen a parent and a child, and they look exactly like that one parent? Like that one parent made that kid by themselves? That's Christ. And that is the image. It is not the image in which people try to give us his skin color look like, even though they have a description of what his skin color look like. But it's a thing where, people are trying to give us a false image of what he looked like. And the real image of what he looked like was the image in walking and believing in God and trusting his Father and the sacrifices that he made for us so that we can be even closer to God. Because like our parents, we have evidence of our parents. Whether you know who your parents are or not, this is the evidence that two people did something, and we're here. So, Christ is the evidence that God, peace of God, however you want to look at this, my aunt had a way of explaining it. She said it's like water. You have a gas state, a liquid state, and a physical state. And this is like different states of God. They call God the many-faced one. So in looking at God not being able to lie, I definitely get that. But in looking at as if God could not manifest himself in flesh form to exhibit even more of his love to you, to show you how close he wants to be with you, to where he lived, he died because he was sacrificed and was resurrected and brought back to life, to where God beamed him up and he's still living. So not only is there a flesh part of God still living, the God being of God is living, and there is a spirit that if we choose, that can live within us, that is connected to this kingdom and to God and Christ itself. I mean, believing in that opens a brand new world. And it's a thing where it's like, try it, taste it, and see. You don't have to join a gang in order for you to experience the love that God has to offer you. I'm just saying this to crack jokes, because you know how Lord's disciples be, my peoples. So let God show you and tell you. But when he tells you, because we want to be in a place to hear him, ask him. Don't believe what I'm saying. Find and seek out for yourself, because this is a thing. You don't want to live vicariously through me. No, baby. This is an experience that you want to experience for yourself, because when I tell you, this is something else. Even through the struggles and the storms, you will find something to have joy in. You will find something to have peace in, because he is the peace. The things that he promises you, it is no lie. It is not a lie. And this is the thing that he wants us to experience, so that we are being. You know how when the whole birds of a feather flock together thing, this is a thing where if we're constantly looking at the law and constantly looking at what we're doing wrong and trying to correct those rights on our own, baby, we looking at the wrong thing, and we're going to constantly trip and stumble and fall. But when we put ourselves in a place to openly seek God, ask God about the words that we're reading about. I don't care if it's the Bible, the Quran, something Buddha saying, something that the dude from 48 Laws of Power saying. Ask God about everything. Ask God about him. Ask God about his word. This is a relationship thing. There is no way on God's green earth you're going to be able to fulfill all of those laws and looking at the laws. But when we understand to stay focused on God and to seek God's face and to experience his love and learn how to love, because we've experienced his love and put ourselves in a place to daily hear his word and not just look at this thing, well, he did say this and said that, but actually walk with him and have these conversations with him, because God is actually funny. So this is an experience, my people. So when we walk with Christ, we are in a place to know how to walk in this flesh while still experiencing the kingdom. I love you guys. God loves you even more. And that's what this is about. And the mastering self-love. Because we have to understand how to get over all of these woes, get his stuff away, and actually see what it is we're to pay attention to and live life to the fullest. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. I love you guys. This is not a thing where it's, believe what I'm saying. No, actually ask him and see what he got to say about this thing and experience it. He loves you more. Till next time.